Hello everyone, I welcome you all back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you on how to cut a suit. On the previous video we were shown on how to draft a basic suit pattern. So on this video I'm going to show you how to cut the lining and how the suit is being gummed. Now this is the back, in which whoever sees the previous video should be able to understand what this is all about. Now this is the drafted portion of the back. This is the drafted portion of the back. Now if you want to gum the back, this black position is where the hairstay will be placed. Likewise the other side, which you can see. Then on this drafted part, this is how it's being gummed, this way and upward. Now you first of all bend the down part, then you bend the side part as well, and you ensure your bending is ½ inch away from the tip of it. So the other part has the same gum, just the way it is, but the bending is only from the downside, not the both side. So the drafted portion have two bendings, downward then sideways. Now if you want to cut the lining, you turn it upside down. This is how it is. The drafted part will be down. The drafted part will be down, then it will now be like this. So when you want to cut, you follow up the tip just the way it is, like this. You follow up this tip to the down part. Now once you're done from this edge, then you cut out your neck portion, leaving 0.7, not up to 1 inch, but you can leave up to 1 inch if you want to. You can leave at least 0.7 away from the edges of the neck and the shoulder slants. Now coming from this other side, you don't need to follow up this right shape, this angle shape. All you need to do, just take it downward, then you take it down, leaving 0.7 inch away from the main fabric. That this allowance is meant for seaming, and we're still going to trim it off at long last after everything is joined. So now after you've cut out your neck region and your side, then you open it up, then you can now cut out the length. So now after you've cut out this part, you lift the back out, leaving your lining alone. Then so now after you've dropped out the fabric, leaving the lining alone, you're going to mark out 2 inches from the top and from the bottom, like this. Then you slant it to your waistline. You slant it to your waistline, upward, like this. So now after you've slanted your line, then you cut out the upper layer. You cut it out. Now this is it. Now only one part is being trimmed. One is shorter than the other, in which is well explained on the other video on how to sew a back center bend. So now after you've done this, then you indicate your wrong side and right side. Now you take this one back, then you fold it and keep it aside. Then you pull your lining a little, then you pick the front. This is the front, this is the front, and this is the side. So now, as you can see, this is the side part of the front. Now, for we to gum the side part of the front, this black portion is, this small part is the side. The first one we call is the back. This is the front, this is the side, and the other one is the back. So now this is how the side is being gummed. Just this area alone will contain the hasty, in which you can see is being gummed already. Then the down part, your 2 inches of your hem point, of your full length point, you gum it, and you can bend it if you want to, although it's optional. Then for the front, the main front is being gummed complete. It's a full stay we are supposed to apply on this one. So now we're going to cut out the lining for the front. So now, from our drafting, we were able to notify everyone on how we came about this small opening here. This one is a way in which the dart is being contoured on the fabric. So this small point 2 that you can see is well explained on the video of the drafting. So now this is how it is. So now this is the interface in which we cut. So now the front alone, only the front and the interface contains a full stay, that is from the top to bottom. Only these 2 parts contains a full stay. Now this is how it's being placed. Now we have cut our back from this part. This remaining area will be for our front. Now you take your side and your interface. This is the tip, and you should go at least 1 inch in to the edge of your lining. So this is how it's been placed. You should go at least 1 inch inside. So after you've placed your interface, you pick your front, you keep it well. The front too should be at least ½ inch away from the interface. Should be ½ inch away from the interface. So now this is how it is. So now this is how it's being placed. Remember, the interface should be 1 inch in the lining. Then the placement of the front should be at least ½ inch away from the tip of the interface. Then after then you now pick your side. You arrange it the way it is when you were drafting. This is how it is. So after you've arranged it like this, then you cut your lining. You ensure you give at least 2 inches away from the tip of your side. You give at least 2 inches. You take it down. So now, after you've cut out this part, then you come to the down part of your interface. Then you now cut it straight to this side. Now, please try to understand this part. After you've cut out your interface like this, you now, this separation here where you see I drew is going to be cut out now, and you can see there is a form of darts we created here when we were drafting, and this place, this little dart you see, this short dart is going to be stitched with 0.2 inch. Now you stitch 0.2 from here, you stitch 0.2 from here, making ½ inch. That is from this edge. You know, this part are equal. From here they are equal. So when you stitch on this area 0.2 it will now be half inch. So now that means when you stitch this short dart, this place will be shorter than the other side. So now you assume you have stitched your half inch, which is 0.2. This is how it will look like. So after then, we can now, after you've stitched your short dart, it will now be like this. Then you can now blend, use your scissors to trim out this other side just to get a straight cut from there. So now from this point where the side and the front is being separated, you're going to give a cut from there, following your chalk, and assuming now we have stitched this short dart already, this is how it will look like. So now we are trying to cut out the lining in such a way we don't need to trim anything from it again. So now instead of we to follow up this shape on the lining, we assume this place is being stitched and here is being trimmed out. So we lift up this edge of the fabric, then we now cut it out downward. Now this is how it is. Now after you've successfully cut out from this edge, then remaining the edge of the side. So now on the same cut, you follow up the side pattern. You follow the edge of the side down to where it will meet at the bottom part. Then you take off these pieces. So now this is the smaller dart we took from this edge, from this point. Now we cut it out, then now it's of no use. So after you've successfully separated your side lining from the front lining, then you lift off your side, you pick the other side, you keep them together like this, keep them on one side. Then from this edge of the side lining, you demarcate a strike there, which is the wrong and right side of the side. Now you fold them together. Now after you've successfully cut the side lining, you can now take off your front, leaving you with just your interface and the remaining lining. So now for we to get the right positioning of this other lining, you demarcate the edge of your fabric, of your interface on the lining. Demarcate the edge of it on the lining. Now after you've done this, now for average length of length 30, 31, from this down part you can measure up 18 inches 5 to get your inner pocket position. So now for this small size, since it's not an average suit, it's a small size suit in which we use in our drafting, I'll make use of 17 for it. For average size of length 30, make use of 18 or 18.5. That can go for virtual all average sizes, but for this size I make use of 17 because it's a small size. So now this is where the positioning of the pocket would be, and on this same position, this is where you place your hairstay like this. Now this part will contain hairstay. That is where your pocket position will be, and you're going to construct a pocket, a welt pocket there. So after you've demarcated the edge of the fabric or your interface on the lining, you can now take it up. Then you pick the second part of the interface and you keep them together. Then you drop it aside. Then after you've gotten your edge of your lining, then you cut following your demarcated lines, you leave at least 0.7 inch away from the dotted lines. This 0.7 inch is your seaming allowance, in which you're going to join the side, the lining and the interface together. This will serve as the sewing allowance for it. So for now, the interface is the first, this one is the second, then the lining of the side is the third. So now you indicate this one. You know that one we drew just a strike. So for this one, you can demarcate it as an X. Then you now know this is the middle lining. So this you keep it aside as well. Now this is the front, and this is the other part of the front. Now so many people were asking, how do we position our chest pocket? Now this is it. Remember, this is our notch that we got from the drafting, in which I say when we come for drafting, I'll explain it more better. Now from this our edge of the armhole, you're going to demarcate 1.7 from the edge. Demarcate 1.7. Then after the 1.7, then you can now demarcate the size of your pocket. For this average size, I'm using 3.5 for it. For this small size, I'm using 3.5. But for average size, you can make use of 4 or 3.7. For extra large, you can make use of 4.5, depending on the size of the person or the client you are dealing with. Now on this size, I'm using 3.5, in which this is my 3.5, and this is my notch. This is my notch here. So you're going to rule a line 0.2 away from the notch, just like this. Then you rule a line like this. Now this is where the positioning of the pocket will be. So now after this part, or after demarcating, when you go back to your machine, you can construct your pocket on this position you have placed so far. So this is how we get the positioning of the chest pocket, in case you lost on the previous videos. Now you keep the two fronts together and you fold them and keep them aside. Now coming for the sleeve video, you turn your lining horizontally, then you pick the sleeve. Now this is how the sleeve is being gummed, just the way the back is. You gum only the top, which you can see with black haste, then you gum it downward and sideways, just the way the back is being gummed. You bend the down and the side for the bigger sleeve. You gum this down, you bend it down and the side, bending it to your half-inch point. You don't bend it like this, you bend it like this, going in with extra half-inch. So that is how it's being gummed. Then for the cutting, the way it's been bended, that is how it will be cut exactly, without any seaming allowance. So now this is how it is. You follow up the shape the way it is, no seaming allowance is added. You cut it exact from top cut it down too, just the way it's bended. And now this half-inch we bended inside. You know, if it's open like this, this is the tip of this is the tip. So now we cut this one, leaving a half-inch that is being bended inside. So now after you've cut out this sleeve, you can now demarcate your right side. And remember, the lining is on a cut and fold pattern. It's 2 layers we are dealing with. So you indicate your bad side and your bad side. The inner is always the right side, so don't get confused. Then after you're done with the bigger sleeve, you take the second one and you keep them together. Then you fold them aside. Then after you've cut the bigger part, then you go for the smaller part. Now this is the smaller part, and this is how it's being gummed. This is how it's being gummed, just the way you did on the bigger side. You gum only the top, just the way you can see with black hairstay. Then you gum the bottom and the side. But on this one, we bend only the down part aside the side. We gum only the down part, we bend only the down part. Increase the brightness. It's darker. So now, just the way it is now, this one too will be cut without seaming allowance. Just the way you cut the bigger part, the same way you cut the smaller parts too. No seaming allowance is added. So you take it off. So now this extension will not be included on the lining part. So now you bend this one out, then you cut it straight. So now after you're done with this, you lift your fabric and you demarcate your bad sides. Remember, the inner is always the right side. So this is how it is. After you're done cutting, then you take the other parts, then you fold them together, then drop them outside. Now we have cut the back, the front, and the 2 sleeves together. Now this is how, in case if you're lost on how to cut the pocketee, the remaining edge of your lining, the size of your pocket should be the length of your welt pocket pieces, and an average suit has the length of 6 inches. That is the length of the welt pocket pieces, or the welt pocket size should be 6 inches. If it's bigger than the usual average size, then it should be around 6.2, 6.5. But for this smaller size, I'm using a size of 5.5 for it. So now this is my welt pocket pieces. This is my welt pocket pieces. For the 2 fronts, it has 4 parts. Then this is for my cover flap. Then this is for my chest pocket, in which I will still bend this way. So now, for you to cut your pocket in, you measure your welt pocket pieces. I'm having 8 inches here. You cut out your 8 inches. Cut out your 8 inches. Then the height of your pocket should be at least 6 inches or 5 inches. That can serve. Then this is our pocketee for the welt side pocket. Now coming for the inner one, the inner one is always 5 inches. If you want to make it smaller, 4.5. So now, and the length of the welt pocket pieces should be 7 inches. So now this is our 7 inches. So we cut this way, and the lining will serve as my welt pocket pieces, because I'm using the lining as the welt pocket tip. So this is it. This is the length, 8 inches, 7 inches by 8 inches. Remember, this 8 inches, if I should open it up, it will be 16 inches. So this is on a cut and fold pattern, 7 by 8. So this is all it takes for we to cut a lining. So now we have successfully cut the back, which is this one. This is our front, like this. This is the bigger sleeve. This is the bigger sleeve. We keep this one too. This is the smaller sleeve. We keep this one too. This is our middle lining, in which has the X on it. This is our interface. We keep this aside. Then this is the lining of the side of the front, which has the strike on it. Then this is our side. Now all the parts are now complete. This is the waist pocket pieces for the side pockets, and this is the cover flap of the side pocket, and this is the pieces for the chest pocket, and these are the pocketings I'm going to use for it. So after arranging them in one place, you can unfold it. So you go to your machine and you stitch all the necessary parts. Thank you very much. I remain Samson Alibra Sunday, the host of Suit Cruise.